Hello and welcome to Reflections. This is episode 8, talking about the Meridian, part 2 of Perspectives. It's if you just watch them in order, it's just a story being told. Side note, last night we were asked by a old friend of ours what Go There Do That is, and I felt like my answer was pretty lukewarm, because most of the time it'd be like, if you asked me what love is, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd probably avoid the question by just sending you a link to this video. So we are going to show the intro because this one is a little special, because we did a little intro of our own at Meridian.
Oh my god. We're redoing this from the hammock because the audio is bad. But I also need my hammock time, so we have to compromise. Take it away.
So we're in Meridian State Park, and
Whoa. It's got some killer wind.
the wind factor is a 10 out of 10.
So it turns out that changing locations will not actually reduce the amount of wind that you get. I'm not really sure what the thought process behind that was, but you actually wanted to relax while we were camping, and so that's the hammock time.
Well, yeah, but what's funny about it is, like, for the previous Perspectives episode, we've been, like, filming the intros, like, in the kind of the present, like, as we're still going off and doing stuff. And and then when you were working on this one, you were like, oh, I think this actually needs to be 2 parts. But then we were kind of like, oh, do we need to go film an intro? Because we'd already filmed the intros, like, as we were in, like, camping and then, like, going to Colorado and stuff. So then we were like, oh, we're gonna have to, like, go film one. But then you were looking through the footage, and we, like, kind of had filmed a little intro without even knowing that there was intros to film at the time. So that's kind of a cool little thing.
Serendipitous.
Yeah.
Because it needed to be 2 parts, but all right, here's the actual video.
Like, Danny, you have the easiest job. Okay.
Yeah, I would get frustrated sometimes when we, like, which this is only our second time bringing the dogs, but I do remember, like, as we were doing this and when we would bring the dogs, because you had, like, all the camera stuff, and so most of the time I would try to, like, manage both of them, since you kind of had your hands full, but sometimes they did not cooperate, and that would get me pretty frustrated. Yeah.
Danny did have the easiest job.
Yeah. And she was usually like the easiest walker. So then I was like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Get it together, girl.
Yeah. What the heck was that? That was actually the only footage I had from that whole entire trail. Because I think the frustration that we saw with Danny was sort of like, and I felt bad because at this point we didn't really know what we were doing. Just like now, what is it? but we were very frustrated with each other. I was frustrated with, we had talked about this before, but this was a point of, I couldn't say, I don't know what this is. If I told you that, then it'd be like, well, why am I doing my part? Because you mentioned jobs. We all had our job at, going into this. I was the one who recorded stuff, and you were the one who booked things and walked the dogs around. But
yeah, and you were like asking me to do this like on top of everything.
You were also teaching, full-time job.
Yeah, so I was like excited to try it, but then like if you would have gave any inkling that you were like unsure of what you were doing or like what the plan was, because I was just like, oh, he has a plan, so like yeah, we'll figure this out, I'll do my part of it. But if you would have told me like I don't have a plan, I probably would have like I probably would have abandoned ship, because it was like it was a lot of extra like work, and at this point you can tell that I'm kind of like struggling with the fact that it was like good for us to be doing this and getting out in nature, but sometimes things that are good for you can still be difficult, like in effort and like more work. And so yeah, I think it's a good thing you did not tell me that you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah. So I just got to ask, what is the difference between then and now?
That's a great question. Yeah, because I think a lot of times, as far as I know, you still don't really know exactly what we're doing.
What's the point
or where
of life?
This is going, but yeah. I think I've learned to embrace that and like have fun along the way and enjoy the experiences, like no matter what really comes out of it, like the experience is kind of the point. And then yeah, like we've learned to work together a lot better than like at this point in our lives, because we're both very hardworking, resilient, determined people individually, but then sometimes we would get to kind of doing like our own thing and like have our own parts and stuff. And I think like now, 4 years later, we work separately still, but also we know how to like work together. Yeah. And I think the common goal, what is the common goal? What do you think the common goal is?
What?
To live a fulfilling life?
You think I'm going to have this, put this image in my head of what this is supposed to be?
Yeah.
As if it's not exactly that. This is way too, the thing that you attach pretty much your life to, that I'm determined not to ever let this go away. That's something that you can't really attach a certain idea to, because if it's not this exact thing that I'm imagining,
right,
you're going to be disappointed. Or if it doesn't happen within this amount of time, or if it doesn't happen in this exact way. And this is why I have to go into each one with like a clean slate, because
yeah,
I don't want any of, like, I tried this again because I knew the audio was bad the first time, and this is why I'm annoying you so much, because what we're about to see is how you felt.
Oh, because you were asking me to do it again, yeah.
About redoing it. Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Here we are.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
So we have to redo this?
That's what I said.
Because the audio was bad.
That's what I said.
But I needed to have my hammock time, so...
Are you not done with your hammock time?
No, clearly.
Well, we don't have to do it again right now.
I was just saying it for the camera.
Oh.
You idiot.
You gotta speak up. If I can barely hear you, the camera won't be able to hear you.
Yeah, well, I was like trying to give some context, I guess.
I feel like you were
But-
talking to me at first,
I know.
and then I was like, "That's what I said. That's what I said." And
Yeah.
then you're like, "I wasn't talking to you.
Right. Like,
I was talking to the
but
camera."
that's just the thing. Like, we were not on the same
Yeah.
page and the same wavelength.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was like, I very much want, like, whatever we're doing here to still be, like, accommodating. Like, I was like, I still want to have, like, hammock time. Like, I know that you want to, like, record these interviews or whatever we're doing with this, but, like, I still want to enjoy these moments and, like, have, like, go camping. Like, I didn't want to be, like, a vlogger or, yeah.
Yep. But
Obviously, I did not want to be a vlogger.
yes. But this is funny watching this back because I said that was mean what you said. But another certain perspective or observer of this would be like, I understand he's bugging her on a hammock. Like, it's fun to see who is, we're not like together on it. So like
Yeah.
we're both right in a way where it's like,
Right.
well, he just wants to capture memories. He's just an innocent little fella. And it's like, well, she's just innocently sitting on her hammock while you're camping without an idea of where this is going. So honestly,
Yeah. And it was like it really freaked me out sometimes because I didn't know what you like wanted to do with this. And I was like, I'm not going to be like, I was like, oh, this might not work out. Like, what are you going to have, like, hire somebody to, like, play my role? Because, like, I'm not going to be, like, I don't know, like,
be what?
what I was imagining what this would be was, like, we sit down and, like, do a little interview, and I'm like, here we are at Meridian State Park, and you can do this and this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I just, like, can't see myself, like, getting there. In, like, the way that you see, like the examples, you know, like, of other, like, travel vloggers and stuff. Like, I was just like, that's not, like, I can't. That's not me. So I was kind of worried that I'd get replaced or something.
Replaced by air.
Yeah.
The hammock is just empty.
And out of all of them, which one has been your favorite?
Me?
No, I was talking to O'Malley. Say it again.
My
He's
favorite.
gonna bark some more.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
You said that, and now there's leaves falling on me.
Is it my fault that the leaves fell on you?
Yeah, they hadn't fell on me at all, and now there's like 3. My favorite park so far has been. He's gonna bark again.
You said Somerville, right?
Yeah, I can say it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. I'm real antsy. Yeah. And, like, I think, yeah, I definitely 100% have the Sunday scaries at this point. And it's like, I literally have to go to work tomorrow. I probably had papers to grade when we got home, like lessons plans to make. And then we're like in Meridian State Park, like 2.5 hours away from home in a hammock, and you're asking me to film this again. And so I'm just like, I'm basically like a brat.
I mean, I would be too. If, that's what I'm saying. If this were inverse, it's like I understand
Yeah.
exactly why.
Yeah.
It's just weird that we're doing what we're doing right now. You know, I think
Yeah.
just coming from this and
Yeah.
seeing this. Isn't it weird? It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyways.
This is my, like, some of, like, people that have known us for a long time, like friends and stuff. My, like, alter ego. They call it, like, Schmether. Which
That's
is
a name
basically
haven't heard in a long time.
it's basically when I, like, have reached I'm overstimulated. Like, I'm so overstimulated. I'm overwhelmed. And then I get kind of, like, snappy. Yeah.
I get it. That's what
I mean, I still do.
Yeah.
It's just that my, like, threshold is way higher.
You've been putting up
Yeah.
with me long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say it mostly. My favorite park so far was Lake Somerville. I feel like it's like a little secret gem, kind of off the beaten path.
Lots of cool scenery, lots of farm animals.
And the site was like really nice.
99. We got ourselves a nice little shady spot.
There were other nice sites that we're excited to like try out too. And then I think that one had like a really positive feeling with it because it was O'Malley's first time to swim in the lake. And he was a good boy. And it was her first time to take the dogs camping with us.
We're doing this with the puppies. Might be a complete disaster.
Can't decide if this is more or less peaceful with them.
Yeah. Now this is getting good. Now I get it.
Well, this is like literally our first time reflecting, like doing a reflections. And like when we started this, we didn't even know that we'd done this. I mean, in a sense of like, I don't know, you're deep unconscious of like having done it before, but you don't remember. And so, yeah, when you got to like part 1 and you were starting to look at the footage and you were like, oh, we like sat down and talked about each of the state parks we'd been to, I was like, oh, that's like...
It's been there the whole time.
Yeah. And then it's like funny too because I'm saying some of the same things that I've like said on like reflections like for Lake Somerville, but 4 years ago. So it's like kind of the overall like feeling of it has remained the same. Like that's kind of interesting to me.
That's something that can't go away, is the feeling you had at the time of doing it. Does that ever get warped or dishonest? Like memories of how things happen, what people said, that gets kind of weird and ebby and flowy, but the feeling is something that just remains unchanged.
Yeah.
Right? And you might articulate it a little better or a little, different.
Right.
But I think that's what we're trying to do is this, similar to I didn't have the skills to connect all of this footage. Like I would look at this and get so frustrated with, the audio. This video needed a lot of audio work too. And I now know how to help fix it because in the first episode it was way worse. And now this one I feel pretty good, but it still needed work. And that's something that I didn't have the skills or the wherewithal to do back then. But now that I'm able to just plow through all of the editing aspects and then also, there's a story somewhere, but that's what I mean is like
and we like didn't really have the same, and we're still working on our like communication skills and like even being able to explain some of this stuff, but you can see back then too like that skill wasn't very developed either, because it's just like it was good, like it was fun with the dogs, very
neat.
Like I'm not even ready to look at any of the deeper things about that at that point.
Yeah. And then
and it didn't go up in flames. And the weather was okay that weekend. Just all those things combined made it my favorite state park so far. But I think a part of it's just the vibes that went with it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I also think it's funny because I was like saying, I guess that was in Lake Somerville and I'm in the hammock. And I was like, I'm not sure if it's more or less stressful to have the dogs.
Yeah, I was in Lake Somerville.
Yeah, and then you showed like really nice moments with the dogs. So it's like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's sort of the nuanced editing approach that I have, especially with this one, is it's not exactly, I have to go off of all the footage that we just have so far. I don't allow myself to add in stuff except for the intros. That's the rule I have. So I have to use everything that we have had so far, but nothing ahead of that, because it's like a memory building on itself. And so whenever you say something like, I don't know if this is more or less peaceful, I let that feeling creep in and answer the question for you. That happens again. But also I have a fun little phrase that I say here.
What good is anywhere without memories?
Right.
What good is anywhere without memories? I mean,
I feel like you've said that 100 times since then, but like in many different ways.
Yeah. What's the point of something happening if we're not going to remember it? You know? It's just going to float away because it didn't matter. But every second of your life, you know, every time you do anything is like a new experience. Because you've never been this old. You've never been this person that you've been now. Too much, I know. We'll continue with Bass Drop here.
Bass Drop had cool scenic views.
It's very like naturey.
And we did both think that eternal youth was in this park somewhere.
And an underwhelming historical
Water fountain. It's just that I've not seen a drop of water. I think there's gonna be a little trickle, like a bird bath.
I say mystical wonder. The fountain of youth.
and it was shorter than me, which is really saying something.
What do I do with it?
Drink from it.
But it was a piece of
History, which is cool.
There's not really much water here. Just a piece of ash could make that whole not giving up yet.
No.
Pretty good experience. Second time. I'm not ready to give up yet, so.
Bass drop is good for one little piece of ash dropping on something and lighting a fire. I mean that metaphorically.
Oh.
I'll just point out, I intentionally showed how this is sort of, at any time something happens where something dies, something burns, something within you, or something in nature. I think us being just as much a part of all this as we are ourselves, because we do exist within nature. Sorry to break the news, but when you see this, like myself in this place in Bastrop, and I see all this fire burning, all this stuff, it sort of is a metaphor or is representative of like us regrowing ourselves, because this is kind of the start of, you know, this journey, whatever journey this is, however you define it. But I mean, I show a burnt tree, and then in the same spot I cut to me standing there. You know, like I think about these things, but this is my opportunity to point them out but one time. But it's cool. That was cool because we all fit in, you know, that would not have, this is what I mean by the editing thing, where it's like finishing each other's sentences and like very quick, because the music also, if you listen, is underneath all of it. It's the feeling, the foundation, it's the music. And so as it, just try to listen to the music as best as you can. And within that, you'll kind of see where I'm coming from, or hear, or feel. Yeah, it's all together. You look at it holistically, you know, all parts of a whole.
I mean, basically, you think about things. This isn't like thrown together. Like there's a lot of care put into this. Yeah.
Thanks. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Next up, here we have Lake Whitney. Just a little. Also, these are segments. I try to include as much new footage as I could. I've said this in the first part, but this is like new stuff. New, you know, when you say water fountain, it's just that I haven't seen a drop of water, or the ash, you know, going like. Those are things that I didn't know how to put into the first video, because it's like just a little sentence. But now I'm trying to pack it all in so that in the end I've used 100% of all the footage I've ever gotten or something. So just like this one here at Lake Whitney, it's kind of some bonus stuff.
When we were at Lake Whitney, we got there like at night, and we set up the tent in like 20 minutes.
Good luck in there. Zip. How many bugs made it?
Several.
Yeah, it took us like...
Less than 30 minutes.
I don't know if that's impressive or not, but I felt like it was impressive.
Close the door.
Tent camping's really great until it's not. I'm just hoping that we can avoid that not day.
It's close to saying nothing days. Like if you go back to Perspectives episode 1 when you say no more nothing days. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was more saying
Yeah,
like
I know.
I'm worried that this is like I'm gonna start. I was worried that my spirits were not going to remain high, and then I was gonna have a hard time like continuing on with any difficulties. And eventually, like you're gonna run into difficulties is the thing. And I was just like worried. I was like my resilience at that time was like maxed out. Basically, all my resilience was being spent teaching in 2020. And so I was like, if, we literally don't have a rain fly. So tent camping's great until it's not. And so it's like, if and that night we had like not slept very well because it was just like loud, and I thought that it was going to rain all night because of the wind. And so I was like really worried that I wasn't going to be able to hang. Yeah.
That is something we did get lucky all these times without rain August, September.
It was hot, but like the weather was always fine.
Yeah.
Like no rain.
Rained on with puppies.
Yeah.
You're not going back.
Yeah.
But now we have Inks Lake.
Day.
And then Inks Lake had
The lake.
the lake.
I'm short.
Oh.
It got me.
You went from your tumble?
A little.
It's a really great state park if you have like a boat or kayaks, or if you want to go fishing. They do have rentals usually, but not right now, obviously.
It's a bad time to camp if you are interested in the commercial activities that state parks offer.
Because of COVID, you couldn't rent things. You couldn't do the normal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a reminder. But yeah, I had all this footage of like the state park, but then also 4 years ago, me was like, what's the point of getting this? Because it's not actually showing the state park, like in its full.
And there was like, you couldn't even do all the stuff that you normally couldn't. It's like, it was like it was the best time to like start doing that in the sense of like, my goodness, we just like needed something to do. But also it was the worst time to start doing it in a sense of like, I thought that the plan was to like make videos basically for Texas Parks and Wildlife, but then it was like, what are we gonna like film the bathroom and like give bathroom reviews, or like we can't even rent the kayaks and stuff, so like what are we doing here?
You did have a passionate bathroom review.
I did, yeah. Because I was like, what are we doing? Like, should I be doing a bathroom review? Like, should I be doing a hiking review? Like, what are we doing here?
We're fishing, look.
Inks Lake also has the Devil's Water Hole, and there's like this big, huge rock you can climb up and jump down, which we did not participate in, but we saw a lot of people do it, including like small children who are... Okay, bye.
Oh, keep going.
Including small children who are like 1,000 times braver than me, because they were just like climbing up that thing. Just like...
I don't know why I moved out of the way.
Yeah.
But...
That's why I was like, okay, bye. Like,
I don't know. It's cool because I gave you all of the frame, and then I like zoomed in and started messing with the audio, And I don't know exactly what I was thinking at the time, but I'm glad I gave you the spotlight, because I was like, I know I was paying attention to the camera more and making sure the audio was good because of
What I was saying.
maybe, but you were saying stuff, and I was like, oh, this will be good. I need to make sure I get this. And I know I moved to the camera and started messing with it because of this little thing you have here about fear.
Climbing up that thing, just like fearless. I wish I had that courageous heart, just plummeting to my death. That felt really brave.
Nobody died.
No, but there's always that potential, you know. It is called the Devil's Waterhole, which sounds a little inappropriate in my opinion.
What would you have named it?
Nope Rock.
That's an answer to something. Don't know what, but what is the point of go there do that? I don't know. The answer still remains hidden.
Thanks for seeing me.
Yeah, of course. I'm the camera. That's my job. That's the camera. Everybody has their job. Danny has her job to walk. I got my job to have the camera. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think at the time, I've been saying this, like unconsciously going towards a tree, just recording moments as they happen. And it's weird how I got those. Those were important to get and record. Weirdly enough, that would be weird in a Texas Parks and Wildlife video.
Right.
So,
So maybe it wasn't about that.
but you also can't say, hey, I have this idea. What if along the way we found out that you weren't actually as scared as you were saying you were? But I can't say, just do it, just do the thing. I saw you climb a tree. It's 4 years after all of these things happen where I'm like, oh, she started by jumping. That first one was bastrop, just a little boop, jumping off a little step. And then you talk about the rocks and you're like, I was so timid on these rocks. And then you get to another bigger rock and then you climb a tree and then you climb another tree that's bigger. And then you're like, oh, that felt really brave. I don't know why. That's not me. That felt brave, but that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And then at Meridian, you're like, no way, Jose. This rock.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just the Devil's Waterhole that you're scared of and nothing else. I don't know.
No, I mean, I would do it today.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing is like, it is interesting because I definitely 100% considered myself a chicken. Like, I was like scared of roller coasters. Like, I was just like, you can actually just not even ask me about anything like that because the answer is no, because I am scared and I've categorized myself in this way and I am scared of things and I'm not going to try those types of things. And so like, how does somebody, and there's probably, if people in my life who've like known me for a long time, they like care, like, how did this happen? Like, how am I watching Heather paragliding off the Alps?
Spoiler alert.
Like how, like Heather, like my mom panicking when she saw us like hiking Angel's Landing. So it's like, how does that happen? Like, how do you escalate to there? How do you leave a career, you know? But it starts with like little small steps and changing how you think of yourself, because I am not a chicken. Far from it.
We have evidence,
Yeah.
that points to the contrary of your first opinion you had of yourself.
Yeah.
But that was a fun one to make. And it's even more fun one to talk about. But I know it takes a lot to pay attention to yourself. This is an effort, right? That
Yeah.
we're making right now, where we're like, we need to look at where we've come from to know where we're going.
Right.
But it kind of doesn't make sense, because it's like, well, where are you going? And it's like, I need to look at where I've come from first. And that's how I know where this is heading.
Right.
But I have this excuse of being a video guy.
Right.
You know, it's not like I'm looking through old photos. It's similar, but I think the narrative power of video and storytelling is the secret cheat code that I have
Yeah.
for doing this at all. Like, that's the excuse, when really you don't need an excuse ever to actually tell your story or know yourself.
Right.
You don't have to make a YouTube video. You don't.
Yeah.
It's just fun for me to make these things, and then you look at me and say, thanks for seeing me, and I'm like, well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But like knowing your story is so important, because now it'll be so much harder further on down the road when I'm like faced with challenges to think of myself as a chicken, because it's like, you know, sometimes that can like creep up, you know, where like time happens, you know, life happens, and you move on through life, and then you're like, no, I'm thinking I'm a chicken, you know, and you like forget about moments like these, you know, but it makes it a lot harder to forget who you are and like how far you've come if you're reflecting on that.
No.
Yeah.
Just acknowledge that you exist, and normally the fears that we feel are artificially placed on us based on something that happened after we were born, because you weren't born a chicken. No child looks at the world and is immediately terrified of it all. There's some idea that got put in there, some experience that said you can't climb that tree, you're too scared. I don't know what it is, but I think the ability to
Overcome that. Yeah.
overcome these apprehensions, the anxiety, because anxiety, today's day and age, is very real.
Yeah.
But do you have to live in it? 4 years ago, Heather and Heather now, they disagree on that. So it's the same person. I didn't replace her. Like, she was scared of, you know, it's not a new, but it is a different, I'm a different person, you know, like we're different people. New hat than for, you know, it's all different. So like, that is something to think about. And that's what we think about. And that's just a little hobby of ours. And thanks for watching our home videos with us.
And maybe that's what Go There Do That is.
There's not we're still working on that.
The definitive summary in two sentences or more.
Yep. I would well, there's 4 words.
Right.
That says what it is. And that's kind of the, like, what is Go There Do That? And like, well, go there, do that.
Right.
And it's go there, do that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to repeat back the thing, you know, the same thing to people. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Watch a video in its entirety with headphones on. Just one video. Just go through, pick one, and kind of feel what it is. I do that, and I'm talking to whoever's watching. I don't know, me. I might be watching this now, so I'll be editing later, and so I'm gonna say, go watch it. Yeah. Who knows who this message is for? Could be me in 4 years.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thanks for watching. And remember, go there, do that.